Brodes Media.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Well, the Phillies only got 2 games in against the Marlins. Game 3 was postponed, so they split. And I'm frustrated. There's no denying it. I saw so many things that made me sick to my stomach when it comes to decisions, when it comes to execution, when it comes to the same problems we have seen a billion times already this year. And you would think by now it wouldn't impact my life the way that it does. But guess what? It still does. I still lose my damn mind. I don't know if that's ever going to change because I'm so annoyed and bothered with it that I need to see something new. And it just blows my mind because you would think that an individual like John Middleton, even though I know his main brain or his main brain, I don't even know what that means. His main thought is all about making money. It's all about the income. It's all about the Benjamins. So that's number one on his mind. But after so much failure, after so much disgust, after so much underachieving, after so many prospects continue to blow up and suck, you would think that there would be something serious happening. And maybe it's the deadline. Maybe the deadline will tell us everything we need to know. And what I mean by that is everyone's gone. Everyone's gone. Rhys Hoskins, Aaron Nola, Andrew McCutchen, everyone, Gene Segura, everyone out of here. So then finally, we head in a different direction. You got to rebuild within. You need prospects. You got to start all the way at the bottom. How about the fact that I watch players like Ronald Acuna Jr., Fernando Tatis Jr., Juan Soto? There's so many players out there that the Phillies can grab, like when we talk about Dominican players and like, where is this? Where is this with the Phillies? They just don't know how to do it. So when we talk about this 2-game set, if you will, I'm probably going to scream. Game 1, though, the Phillies ended up winning. And Vince Velasquez, he put together one of the best performances we've seen in quite some time, arguably since his debut with the Phillies. Now, we do have to preface this by saying the Miami Marlins are lower than the Phillies. They are worse than the Phillies. Imagine being that. Think about how much we can't stand this franchise. Think about how much we're losing our mind. The Miami Marlins are significantly worse. So when a player like Vince Velasquez goes off like that, I'm not going to write it off completely and pretend like none of it matters because, well, it's Vince Velasquez. Any good outing is important to him, and let's be realistic. I do need to give him credit. He has been probably the most consistent Vince Velasquez we have seen ever. I mean, just in general, this year, he's put together the best stretches of his career. So it doesn't matter who he's going up against fully, but it does need to be in context as well. But he ended up going 7 innings, 2 hits, 0 walks, which is important for a guy like Vince Velasquez, and 0 earned runs with 7 strikeouts. What ended up happening, though, was Connor Brogdon allows a run. Jose Alvarado allows a bomb in the 9th inning. So now it's a 4-3 game when the Phillies had a decent lead. As soon as the bullpen came in, runs, nonstop. But they were able to hold on. I didn't feel great about anything because it's not a recipe for success, because we've seen things that costed this team so many wins so far this season, which was a blow up late, which was your bullpen not holding on. So just because they just squeaked by, it didn't make me feel any better about things that they came out with the W in the win column, because I know if that happened 9 out of 10 times, you're probably losing the game. So it still hurt, even though they did grab a W. It's hilarious because I'm watching the lineup go up that night, right? And here's Luke Williams leading off. He went 0 for 3. And it's just like, what universe is this? What world is this? What year is this? What are we watching? As much as I have to respect Nick Maton, I have to respect Ronald Torreyes for stepping into a role that we never really imagined him stepping into, and he's been very solid at it. I can't stand watching Luke Williams, Nick Maton, Jankowski, Torreyes. Like, that's not winning baseball, with all due respect. And I know Maton has made a little bit of a spark again, and he's gotten some nice hits. He had a 2 RBI triple in the second game against the Marlins. So I'm not pretending as if they just flat out are the most horrendous players in the world, but that's not winning baseball. You look around the league at organizations that thrive, that are at the top of their division, that have playoff hopes, that are realistic when it comes to, a good brand of baseball, actually solid for the sport, watchable for the fans. They don't have Luke Williams and Jankowski and these guys out there on the diamond. Come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Alec Bohm had 3 walks, which was just strange for a player like Alec Bohm to have 3 walks like that. But Rhys Hoskins hit a homer. And that really stood out to me because he was not in the lineup in Game 2 because they were giving him a standard rest day. This is where the organization just doesn't think. This is where they don't have brain cells. Rhys Hoskins, we all know, is a player that is extremely streaky. He'll go 0 for 20, and then he'll give you a really hot 4, 5, 6, 7 games where he's crushing doubles, where he's knocking in runs, where he's hitting for power. And you need that. You need to generate runs. You need to generate more offense. So when Rhys finally gets off the schneid, hits a long ball, you're going to take him out of the lineup the next day. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is not hard. This is not rocket science. We have a player who's been in this city for how many years now? We've seen so many stretches of him being in a slump and then responding. Going through a nice couple of series in a row and then going through an ugly moment when he can't get any hits and he looks lost at the plate. And then he's crushing moonshots and giving you monster home runs in big moments. And then he goes quiet again. He's super, super streaky. Rhys Hoskins just hit a homer after going through some ugly moments. What are we doing? Keep him in there. Let's see if he can hit some homers. Let's see if this could be the start of a Rhys Hoskins, how do you do? A Rhys Hoskins 5 homers in 8 games. Like, why? Why not try it? What do you have to lose? I don't see the payout here of giving him that day, especially where we knew days ago that it was possible there would be a rain delay or a postponement, I should say. Not a rain delay, but a postponement on Friday. We knew the weather was going to be bad. We knew it was probably going to be an uncomfortable spot. Now, you can't totally 100% bank on that fully, but I mean, I just don't see, if we're doing the pros and cons here of Rhys Hoskins, having him play, and I know guys need days off. Guys need days off, but it didn't have to be right after he hits a homer. To me, that's asinine. And by the way, in that game against Vinny V, Rogers was on the bump. I always love watching him perform. He went 5 2/3, 9 strikeouts, 4 walks, though, and allowed 2 earned runs. Not that that's crazy or anything, I'm saying in like a bad way. It's not like he had a bad day at the office, but, I've seen him be a lot sharper. I've seen him be a lot smoother. That's for damn sure. I just look at Adam Hastely and I want to throw up when I see Rogers, because you could have had him. You could have had Ian Anderson. We could have actually had a pitching staff. Now, though, getting rid of some guys. I'm trading Nola. I'm trading Hoskins. I'm trading everyone. I just don't care. I don't care. Now, let's get to Game 2 when they lost 11-6. The Marlins had 18 hits, and let's start with Aaron Nola. Like, I have so many things on this Game 2 that irks me. Aaron Nola. So Aaron Nola's putting guys away, and he had a nice lead, a couple-run lead there, and he just completely blew up. Now, this is what I'm hearing all over social media that night. Well, they were all soft contact, so it doesn't really matter. He was making great pitches, and the other team was just countering with some nice hits, but they were all bloops. They were all hits that you really couldn't do anything with it. They were all just dinky singles. That's the problem with baseball now. And the exit velocity was poor. I do appreciate analytics, and I value exit velocity. The harder you hit the ball, the better of a chance you are going to get a hit. I mean, that's common knowledge. With that being said, now we're just devaluing singles. They crushed the Phillies with 2 outs in that inning to take the lead. They stole it from Aaron Nola, who couldn't shut the door as one of your better pitchers in your rotation. He has a 4.44 ERA, which is worse than Nick Pivetta, may I add. Aaron Nola has not been good enough. And to say, well, those hits don't really matter because they were dinky and they weren't hit hard. Fuck off! It absolutely matters. What are you talking about? The Phillies lost the lead. Aaron Nola was getting 2 strikes. Maybe he was too worried about the strikeouts. I thought Ben Davis had an excellent point after the game was over. And since Aaron Nola's stat line read 11 Ks, now he went 4 2/3, which is just abysmal. Allowed 9 hits, 7 earned runs, and I'm supposed to be okay with his effort because the hits weren't hard. Come on, my ass, dude. My ass. That's such a soft way of looking at it. Aaron Nola has sucked this year. Let's look at it for what it was. Aaron Nola has not been good enough. He's not been the sharp Aaron Nola, and he's not been good. He's not been good. He's not been Aaron Nola standards. If you're looking throughout the entire league, okay, you can work with Aaron Nola. That's one of the reasons why I want to trade him, because I think with his contract and with what he can be, with his ceiling, you can get a decent amount of prospects back in return, and that's what this franchise needs to regroup and to retool. So when I say sucks, I mean in terms of Aaron Nola sucks, because Aaron Nola has been phenomenal, and he's been a shell of himself. And it's not strong. He's a career 3.5 kind of guy, and he's given us 4.44. And here's his last 3 starts: 2 1/3, 5 1/3, 4 2/3. Now, in all of June, factor in 2 more 5-inning starts and 7 2/3. So basically, one good start. One good start where he went 7 2/3. Other than that, it was just a brutal, brutal month for him. And he hasn't been good enough or consistent basically all season long. I don't know how you can look at that and just say, well, the Marlins had some hits that were just lucky. No, they weren't lucky. If the Phillies did that, your reaction would be, good piece of hitting. Find ways. Put the ball in play. Find gaps in the outfield. Find spots on the field in between the infield and the outfield, whether it's shortstop, whether it's over the third baseman's head, whether it's right in front of center field. That's good piece of hitting with 2 strikes. That's what the narrative would be from Phillies fans if the Phillies did that. When it's the opposing team, oh, Nola wasn't bad. No, Nola wasn't good. Nola was not good. Nola was not good. There's no way that you can be satisfied with 4 2/3, 9 hits, 7 earned runs. Stop with that nonsense. Come on now. That pisses me off. Hold him accountable. Not good. Now, Bryce Harper did everything he possibly could. He had 2 bombs, and one of them, man, that was smacked off the brick wall out in center field. When I originally saw it, I didn't even think, I knew it was crushed off the bat, but I didn't know it was hit that hard. That thing was demolished. I wonder how far it would have went without the brick wall. Bryce Harper, I mean, he's getting ripped by some, and he's getting destroyed. I got on the Anytime hotline, I got this text message, and I wasn't going to read it because I think it's absolutely foolish, but I guess I'll bring it up because I mentioned it without planning on mentioning it. And it's from a Nationals fan, and he's talking about Bryce Harper, right? So, I mean, it's a very flawed argument in so many ways. I don't want to spend too much on it, but basically, hey, man, I'm a Nationals fan from D.C. I enjoy your videos because it's funny watching you suffer. What a sad excuse for a Phillies baseball team y'all have in Philadelphia. I feel like Philadelphia is in denial about Bryce Harper. He's a loser and a waste of money. Ask yourself why he left D.C. and they immediately won the World Series. It was a culture change by replacing Bryce Harper for Baby Shark. And while he didn't have the best stats, he brought something Harper could never. Positivity and high spirits. The Phillies' main problem is they have no identity. Their homegrown talent is worthless. Who do you have? I mean, you're really contradicting yourself. You're right. Who do the Phillies have? They have no system. They don't have a lot of players around Bryce Harper. This is baseball. one player doesn't change everything. You need a pitching staff. You need a bullpen. You need players that can actually defend. Rhys Hoskins and Alec Bohm are the worst defenders possible at the corners. The combination of the two is just disgraceful. Didi Gregorius out. I never liked the JT Realmuto signing to begin with. You don't spend that much money on a catcher, but they handcuffed themselves because they gave up Sixto Sanchez, which is another organizational problem to begin with. So you're right. They don't have much, and that's why the Phillies are losing. It's not Bryce Harper's fault when he's giving you, look, did I expect a little more pop from Bryce Harper? Absolutely. But it's not Bryce Harper's fault that this franchise blows. This franchise has sucked so bad, like horrendously throughout its entire existence, way before Bryce Harper got here. They had 93. They had before that an 80. They had 08 run. But realistically, this is a losing franchise for its existence. And that's why they fail. Not Bryce Harper. He continues to say, which is just outrageous, just think about the fact that all the stars, and he puts air quotes around stars, you guys have in Philly like Realmuto or Harper, none of them have rings. But random players like Robles have rings. Like, what? There's always going to be role players that have rings because they played on a good team that had other players around them. I mean, that's basic knowledge here. That's like going and talking about the NBA where, well, Mario Chalmers has rings and Charles Barkley doesn't. Well, Mario Chalmers played on the Miami Heat with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James, while Charles Barkley was the guy and a phenomenal player but can never get over the hump. Charles Barkley not having a ring, Chalmers having the championship resume. Do you not see how, I thought that was basic knowledge. I thought that was pretty standard understanding how sports work and how there's role players and there's stars and they're different. But anyway, I digress. Bryce Harper, while, maybe I expected a little bit more from him, this franchise is not doomed because of Bryce Harper. I can name you, 25 different issues, from scouting, from drafting, from developing, from all the stuff that starts a franchise off to defense, to approach at the plate. I mean, you name it. Bryce Harper. Why did they win? They had a nice run. They had a really nice, miraculous run that season. And they came together. I think Bryce Harper leaving and going to an interdivision rival like the Phillies brought the clubhouse together, I should say, and brought the environment closer. Let's do this. Hey, he left us. We're still good. I think there's an element to them becoming more of a brotherhood because of losing such a big player to a rival like that. And they went on a nice ride for sure. But Bryce Harper is not an issue in the organization. He approaches the game very professionally. He gives everything he's got. He's not a douchebag, scumbag, asshole, garbage player or garbage human being. He's a pro's pro. He's actually very mature, and I almost wish that he had a little bit more attitude to him. I wish he had a bit more swagger. I think he's missing out on that, but he still approaches the game in such a professional way where he's the farthest thing from the issue. That's just the easy thing to do from an outsider perspective, is blame the Phillies' losses on Bryce Harper. Do you watch the games? They had the most second worst historic bullpen in the history of Major League Baseball last year, and they're pretty damn close to it right now this season as well, with save opportunities and how many they're blowing and how many they're missing. And their defense is atrocious. I mean, come on now. If you watch the Phillies, any smart baseball fan, even if you don't watch the Phillies every night, any smart baseball fan can see the issues. I thought Joe Girardi had some horrendous moves in that game as well. Before I get into that, though, DraftKings Sportsbook's not only my favorite sportsbook, but also America's top-rated sportsbook. I love using DraftKings Sportsbook. It's easy to navigate, has plenty of instructions for new bettors, and nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. My friends and family have been loving DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know you will too. Listen to this great offer. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits. Bet on any basketball basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you will claim $100 in free credits. That's promo code Brodes for a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, new customers only. Wager paid out in site credits, restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino, see DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, so Joe Girardi puts in Felice again in a high leverage spot. What are we doing? What are we doing, Joe? And then he ends up getting DFA'd the next day. We watched David Hale get put into games with bases loaded. The team gets annihilated, and then what do you know? David Hale gets DFA'd. Is this just working with what you have, or is this Dave Dombrowski now saying, Joe, use the thing inside of your head. Stop using this guy. He sucks. Is this the way to get Joe Girardi from stop utilizing horrendous players that haven't been in the league at all? Like, I don't understand. And I'm sick because I feel like the Phillies are now, I don't follow who's available for every bullpen every night. I will be very clear about that. With that being said, how are the Phillies always in a position where they never have guys available? Oh, this guy can't pitch. That guy can't pitch. This guy can't. Every game. This guy's not available. That guy's not available. Why? Why are they not available? Where you got to put Felice in there. Who's making that decision? Who's saying that that's the thing to do? Because it's a joke. And they end up using a bunch of guys anyway. De Los Santos, Connor Brogdon, Archie Bradley. But don't use Felice. If you're going to use those guys, use them earlier. If you're going to use Hector, use him earlier. Why would you, in a high leverage spot, think that Felice is the guy to go to? Like, what are we doing? There's 0% chance that you ever use him in that case. Well, I don't trust Connor Brogdon. I don't trust Hector Neris right now. I don't trust Archie Bradley. I don't trust any of these guys. I trust them over a dude that hasn't been in Major League Baseball in how many damn years? Right? It's not that hard to comprehend that logic. What else do we have? Alec Bohm, defending. He's horrendous. Horrendous. He should have 7 billion more errors than he already does, but half the time he doesn't catch it in foul territory and he doesn't hit his glove, or there's a ball that is just labeled a hit, but Alec Bohm made such a horrendous play on the ball. I mean, he's awful. He's unplayable. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Alec Bohm is unplayable. While he had a phenomenal June at the plate, and maybe phenomenal is too hard, or too player friendly, because I'm not satisfied with his lack of power. Now it's starting to become a problem with me. I don't care about it's funny because I started this off by saying singles matter and they are important because Aaron Nola got shredded that way, and that is the case. But Alec Bohm should have more power in his game. So I'm not devaluing the single because it is important, and you saw that when the Phillies lost the lead to the Marlins when Aaron Nola was getting abused. It does have a purpose, but big picture-wise, for the longevity of who Alec Bohm is supposed to be, I can't get over the fact that he's on pace for 9 home runs. I'm sorry, but that is a disgrace. That is absolutely garbage and not okay for a player like Alec Bohm. So while he turned it around a bit offensively and now we're satisfied with, well, at least the ball wasn't a ground ball. That's how far the bar has dropped for a player like Alec Bohm. At least it wasn't a ground ball is what we say when he puts a ball in play. Yeah, I mean, he can't play. He can't play defensively. You lose baseball games. And now we're already hearing this drama of, well, maybe you can put him at left field, or if you trade Rhys Hoskins, you put him at first base. He will not be able to defend for you. And we're in Ben Simmons territory where his pros do not outweigh the cons. You will lose more baseball games because of Alec Bohm than you will win baseball games with Alec Bohm. Think about a pitcher, right? And Alec Bohm's making all these mistakes. And say you can get out of an inning because of a nice solid start by you. You get 12 pitches to get out of an inning, right? But the same plays out, except Alec Bohm makes an error on that 12th pitch. Now you got to keep going. Now you walk the next batter. Now there's a single, and then you finally get that third out on your third batter after you should have already been out of the inning. Now your pitch count is at 22 instead of 12. Now you're out of the game after the fifth inning instead of maybe having a possibility to go through the sixth and maybe even more because, well, that didn't get you out of your funk and it did not and that's not just one inning, by the way. It doesn't force you to stay out there. It's not just one inning. That can happen 2 times in a game between Reese and Alec Bohm. But Alec Bohm is a serious problem, like an actual serious franchise problem. You cannot win with that. He is unplayable. That's just reality of it. He's unplayable. He hurts you. He crushes you. And it's devastating. Absolutely devastating. So what else is devastating? JT's production as of late. JT is down to 264 with his batting average. Now, I do want to pull up his recent game log, but yeah, I'm disappointed with JT as well. All these players that they tried to buy, it just doesn't pop as much as maybe we would have anticipated it being. So if you go to his game log so far this season, JT Real Mucho is how many? Oh, because he played less games, of course, 61 games. He had 1 hit on June 30th. 0 hits, 0 hits, 0 hits, 0 hits. Went 4 straight games without a hit, going 0 for 4, 0 for 5, 0 for 3. Had 2 hits. 264. 264 out of JT. Sorry. Not what I paid for, in my opinion. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Clearly disappointed with this franchise. I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today. We'll see what they do against the Padres. They got a really big stretch coming up with the Padres, with the Cubs, with the Boston Red Sox. So, they better try and keep their head above water here before, well, I don't know. There's nothing really before, there's nothing. I don't know where I was going with that because they're not good. And we know that, and nothing's going to change. There's been way too much baseball played at this point where there better be serious major changes at the trade deadline. I want everybody gone. I really do. I want everyone gone. Trade as many pieces as you possibly can, and we'll move on from there. We're going to have to start, unfortunately, you're in a position now where you're going to have to start a Matt Klentak rebuild, if you will, back when he first got hired. You're going to have to start that all over again because you were left with nothing. Mickey Moniak stinks. Adam Hazley is awful. Who else is bad? Bryson Stott might have something in his game. You know, there's always a lot of intriguing things about Bryson Stott. Mick Abel. Spencer Howard's garbage. This is a bad, bad spot for the Phillies. You're basically restarting from 2013 on. But it's the right thing to do. If you want to figure this thing out the right way, you don't just keep buying and spending all this money because you've tried that and it's gotten you nowhere. And this franchise is a laughing joke. They're in the Seattle Mariners territory. Imagine being a big market city like the Phillies, spending the type of cash that you're doing with your payroll and ending up like the Seattle Mariners. That's a disgrace. It really is. Shame on you, John Middleton, for having this happen. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.